The unexpected encounter. The night was quiet. The only sound in the dark, forgotten station was the soft hiss of the old train tracks as a train slowly came to a stop. Alex sat on a cracked bench, staring at the empty platform in front of him. He had been waiting for what felt like hours, wondering if he would ever get home tonight. His life wasn't easy. Money was tight, his job was a dead end, and every day felt like a struggle. But tonight, as he sat in the dim light of the station, his mind was blank. There was nothing more to hope for. He wasn't paying attention when he first noticed the figure. At first, Alex thought it was just another tired traveler like himself. But there was something different about this person. The figure appeared from nowhere, standing at the edge of the platform, almost like it had always been there. Alex blinked, trying to shake off the weird feeling creeping up his spine. The person was tall, with a hooded coat that hung loosely around their shoulders. Their face was hidden in shadows, and yet Alex felt as if their eyes were watching him even though he couldn't see them. For a moment, Alex thought he was imagining things. He had been awake for far too long, after all. Maybe the exhaustion was getting to him. But then, the figure spoke. "We don't have money for the tickets, human, but we'll compensate you." Alex blinked, confused. His eyes locked onto the figure. The voice was deep but soft, almost musical. It didn't sound like anything from Earth. His heart began to race. Who was this person? And why were they speaking to him? He opened his mouth to speak. But before he could, the figure took a step forward, its shadow stretching across the platform like it was alive. "I know this sounds strange, but trust me. We need you," the figure continued. "The world you live on is about to change. I'm offering you something more than you could ever imagine." Alex stood up, instinctively backing away, his mind racing. Something wasn't right. This person wasn't from Earth. He could feel it in the way they spoke, in the way they moved. His eyes darted around, hoping someone would appear. But the station was empty. No one else was around to help. "Who are you?" Alex finally asked, his voice barely above a whisper. He wanted to run, but something about the figure's presence kept him rooted to the spot. The figure paused, as if considering the question. Then it took another step forward, and for the first time, Alex saw their face. It wasn't entirely human. The skin was pale, almost translucent, and their eyes glowed faintly in the darkness, an unnatural shade of blue. It was like nothing Alex had ever seen. "I am someone who can change your life, human," the figure said calmly. "But the decision is yours. Come with me, and your life will never be the same." Alex's mind spun. He had nothing left to lose. Was this some kind of joke? Or worse, a trap? But the aliens' calm demeanor, the certainty in their voice, it was like nothing he'd ever experienced. He was desperate for something to change, something to make life feel less like a never-ending grind. The figure stepped closer, and with a sense of inevitability, Alex felt a strange pull to follow. Something about it felt like destiny, even though he couldn't explain why. "All right," Alex said, his voice trembling slightly. "What do you want from me?" The figure smiled, a slow, knowing smile, as they said, "Everything. But first, you must trust me." And with that, Alex's life took a turn he could never have imagined. The proposition. Alex barely had time to catch his breath before the strange figure stepped closer, its glowing eyes fixed on him. His heart hammered in his chest, but the figure's calmness almost felt reassuring. In a world where everything seemed out of control, there was something about the alien's certainty that made Alex feel like this was the right choice. The stillness of the station, the hum of the distant train all faded into the background. "Follow me," the figure said, turning with an elegant sweep of its cloak. Alex hesitated. He didn't know why he felt the sudden urge to trust the creature, but every fiber of his being screamed that this moment was something he couldn't ignore. He followed. The figure led him to a narrow side path hidden behind overgrown vines and shadows. Alex felt a strange shiver crawl down his spine. This wasn't the way to any regular part of the station. But Alex was too curious to turn back. Now, the figure stopped in front of a thick steel door that looked completely out of place in this rundown station. Without a word, the figure reached out and placed its hand on the door. There was a low hum, and then the door slid open as if it had been waiting for them. Alex stepped inside. The air felt different, cleaner, cooler. A soft blue light bathed the interior, revealing the sleek walls of an advanced ship, not unlike what you might see in a science fiction movie. It was far beyond anything Alex had ever seen, the kind of thing that looked like it belonged in the future, or another universe entirely. Where are we? Alex stammered, looking around, in awe. What is this place? This is my ship, the figure said, its voice as calm as ever. And you, Alex, have been chosen. Chosen? Alex asked, still in disbelief. What do you mean? I'm just a guy, nothing special. I don't even have enough money to pay for a train ticket. The figure tilted its head slightly as though Alex had missed something obvious. I know exactly who you are, Alex. You may not see it yet, but you are special. You have something others don't. That's why you've been chosen. We need you for something important. Alex's mind raced. How did this alien know his name? His thoughts? Was this some sort of mind game? Or was it really possible that his life was about to change in ways he couldn't even imagine? I don't understand, Alex said slowly. What do you need me for? The alien's glowing eyes softened and it walked closer to a control panel embedded in the wall. It flicked a switch and a holographic display of a galaxy appeared. In front of them. Stars, planets, and ships flickered across the display, creating a vast and beautiful image that almost made Alex feel dizzy. Earth is in danger, Alex, the figure said, its voice suddenly more serious. There are forces out there, forces that want to destroy your planet and the universe beyond it. We need soldiers, people who can help us fight back. But that's not the only reason we chose you. We can't do this alone. There's something about you, something about humans that gives us hope. Alex's brain was on overdrive now, trying to piece everything together. A war? Destruction? Why him? What made him different from anyone else? But, Alex started, but the figure raised a hand, cutting him off. You don't need to understand everything right now, the alien said. What matters is that you've been chosen for something much larger than yourself. We can offer you more than just a way out of your life on Earth. You'll have power. You'll have the chance to change everything. Alex was silent, staring at the alien in disbelief. His instincts told him to run, to question everything, but something else inside him felt drawn to this proposition. Maybe he was desperate. Maybe he was tired of being ordinary. Whatever it was, the words hung in the air like a promise. And what's the catch? Alex finally asked, his voice quiet. The figure didn't smile, but there was something in its gaze. An understanding, a silent answer. There is no catch, Alex. But there is a price. A price you'll only fully understand once you've made your choice. The silence between them stretched out, heavy with the weight of what was being offered. Alex was at a crossroads, standing at the edge of a decision that could change his life forever. And yet the figure said nothing more, letting the tension hang in the air. I need you to decide, the alien said softly. Do you trust me? Will you fight for your world? Alex's heart pounded. The stars of the galaxy glowed brightly in the hologram before him. He looked back at the alien, whose eyes were filled with ancient wisdom and something darker, something Alex didn't fully understand. This wasn't just about a fight. It was about survival, about power, about everything. The choice was his and time was running out. Boarding the ship, Alex didn't know what he expected, but it certainly wasn't this. The walls of the ship hummed with a quiet energy, and as they moved deeper into its sleek metallic corridors, the ship seemed almost alive. Every step he took felt like it echoed throughout the massive craft, a rhythmic pulse that was both calming and unsettling. The air smelled fresh, unnaturally so, and yet it didn't feel cold or mechanical. It felt familiar. Somehow it felt like this place had been waiting for him. The alien, who had introduced itself only as Nivar, led Alex down the narrow hallways with an almost unnerving grace. The walls were smooth and seamless, without any visible buttons or controls. Instead, the ship seemed to respond to Nivar's every movement, the lights adjusting automatically as they passed through each chamber. Alex couldn't tell where he was going, and honestly, he wasn't sure if he wanted to know. How much further? Alex asked, his voice shaking slightly despite his best efforts to stay calm. You'll see soon enough, Nivar replied cryptically, never turning to look at him. The deeper they ventured, the more alien the ship became. The walls began to curve in strange patterns, and Alex started to wonder how such a vessel could even exist. Everything about it seemed impossible, like it was crafted from some material beyond human understanding. Finally, they stopped in front of a massive door at the end of the hallway. It was like nothing Alex had ever seen before. The door was circular, made of a smooth metallic surface that shimmered faintly with an inner light. The surface wasn't solid, almost like it was shifting, liquid, but not in the way Alex would have imagined. Is this where you... What was it? Compensate me? Alex asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Nivar turned to him now, and for the first time, Alex saw something different in the alien's expression. A flash of empathy. Or was it something else? It was hard to tell. This is where everything begins, Nivar said. A trace of something ancient in their voice. It's where you'll truly understand why you were chosen, Alex. We don't just need soldiers, we need those who can think beyond themselves, beyond Earth, and understand the greater galaxy. You're part of something much larger now. Alex's stomach tightened. The weight of what Nivar said hung in the air. He wasn't just stepping onto a ship. He wasn't just escaping a broken world. He was about to enter something far more dangerous. He had no idea what he was walking into, but as the circular door slid open, revealing a vast chamber that stretched as far as the eye could see, Alex knew that running away wasn't an option anymore. Whatever was coming, it was already here. The chamber inside was nothing like anything Alex could have imagined. The floor was made of a shimmering, translucent material that seemed to ripple with light. In the center of the room, there was a massive control panel, dozens of buttons, levers, and strange symbols flashing in an intricate pattern Alex couldn't comprehend. This is where we will prepare, Nivar said, stepping into the room. This is where you will learn. Learn what? Alex asked, stepping hesitantly into the room. How to fight. How to... No, Nivar interrupted, their voice sharp but not unkind. We need you to understand. This is not just a fight. This is about survival, Alex. A war between worlds. A war that's been going on long before you were born. Alex stood, frozen for a moment, his mind racing. His life was already a mess, but now he was being thrust into something so much bigger. A war between worlds? He felt small, like a grain of sand in the ocean, but something deep inside him. The same desperation that had led him to follow Nivar in the first place, fueled a different kind of fire. Maybe this was his chance to finally do something that mattered. How do I fit into all of this? He asked. Swallowing hard, Nivar's eyes gleamed in the dim light. You are human, Alex, and that makes you invaluable. The enemies we face are unlike anything you've seen, but your kind has something they don't. Humanity's potential, its spirit, its raw unpredictability. That's what makes you dangerous to them. And that's what makes you crucial to us. Alex could hardly believe what he was hearing. Humanity's spirit? He had never felt special. He'd never felt like his life had any greater meaning. But as the reality of Nivar's words sank in, Alex felt a strange shift inside him. Maybe there was something more to him, something more to humanity than the dull, day-to-day grind he had lived. This is the beginning, Alex, Nivar said, their voice suddenly soft, almost reassuring. You're not just a passenger on this ship. You're a part of something that will change everything. But to do that, you must be ready. Ready for what? Alex thought, staring at the control panels. He could feel his pulse quicken, his heart beating faster with anticipation. He had made the choice to come here. Now, there was no turning back. How do we start? Alex asked, his voice steadier than he felt. Nivar paused for a moment before answering. First, you must see the galaxy as it truly is. Then, we'll prepare you for what's ahead. Trust me, Alex. Your real journey begins now. And with that, Alex stepped forward, knowing that whatever awaited him, it would be a test of everything he thought he knew about the world, about himself. The battle begins. The ship vibrated beneath Alex's feet, the hum of its engines growing, louder as they accelerated deeper into the unknown reaches of space. The stars outside the observation window looked like fireflies caught in the vastness of the void, tiny pinpricks of light scattered across a black canvas. Alex had always dreamed of space, but now that he was in it, it felt colder than he ever imagined. The unknown stretched out before him as infinite and empty as the decisions he'd just made. Nivar stood beside him, watching the stars. The alien seemed perfectly at ease in this vast emptiness, like this was their natural home. To Alex, it felt suffocating. "Where are we going?" Alex asked, his voice breaking the silence. Nivar didn't look at him. "To the front lines." "Front lines?" Alex repeated, a cold shiver crawling down his back. He had assumed the fight was some abstract thing, something far off in the distance, but the way Nivar said it, so casually, so assured, made the reality hit him like a slap. "Yes. You didn't think this would be easy, did you?" Nivar's voice was almost mocking, though there was a touch of something serious beneath it. "You're going to be part of a war that has raged for centuries, a war between those who seek control and those who wish to protect what remains of the freedom we once had. You're not just a soldier, Alex. You're a weapon. A weapon." The word felt alien to Alex, foreign in a way that made him want to back away. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't even sure what he was anymore. But before he could voice his thoughts, the room around him suddenly shifted. The walls trembled and a loud siren blared to life, filling the ship's interior with an urgent, hollow sound. The lights dimmed, replaced by a red glow that bathed the ship in an ominous hue. "Battle stations," Nivar said, his voice flat. Alex felt his heart rate spike. This was real. This wasn't some training exercise, some simulation. The ship lurched forward, the stars outside blurring into streaks of light as they entered warp speed. Panic surged through Alex. He didn't know what to do, where to go, or what to expect. Everything he had learned so far seemed theoretical, abstract. This was the moment it all became real. The door to the control room slid open, revealing a series of armed soldiers, humans and aliens alike, preparing for battle. They moved with mechanical precision, their faces set in hard lines. Each one seemed to be equipped with advanced technology, weapons that looked like something out of a science fiction nightmare. Nivar turned to Alex, eyes flashing with urgency. "Get to your station now." Alex hesitated. "What station? What am I supposed to do?" Nivar didn't waste time answering. He grabbed Alex by the arm and pulled him into the heart of the control room, where a massive holographic map of a galaxy hovered in the air. Ships moved across the map, some in groups, others as lone entities darting through the stars. "This is where you'll fight," Nivar said. "These ships are not just for transport, they are weapons. You'll learn how to operate them, how to fight, how to survive." "But I'm not trained. I don't know anything about this." Alex's voice cracked with fear. "Exactly why you're here," Nivar replied, unfazed. "You will be trained, and quickly. There is no time for hesitation. The enemy is already here." Before Alex could respond, a loud voice came through the comm system, cutting through the tension. "Enemy ships detected. They're coming fast. Weapons ready." The air in the room seemed to grow heavier, the space filled with a collective tension. Alex could feel the weight of 1,000 eyes on him. He wasn't just a passenger anymore. He wasn't even just a soldier. He was part of something bigger, a massive conflict that had no room for doubt, no time for second thoughts. Nivar grabbed Alex by the shoulder, pushing him toward a seat in front of a console. "This is where it begins," Navarre said, his voice lower now, more urgent. "You're going to have to trust your instincts. Don't think, just do." The console before Alex lit up, a holographic interface materializing in front of him. Buttons and switches flashed on the screen. Words he didn't understand blinked in front of his eyes. "What am I supposed to do?" Alex asked, panic rising in his chest. "You'll see," Navarre said. "The ship will respond to you, Alex. Trust it. Trust yourself." Suddenly, the ship shook violently as a wave of enemy fire hit their hull. Alarms blared, and Alex felt a rush of fear flood his system. His hands trembled as they hovered over the controls. His heart raced in his chest like a runaway train. But the words Navarre had spoken kept echoing in his mind. "Don't think, just do." Before he even realized it, his fingers found the controls and the ship responded. The holographic screen flashed to life, and Alex found himself piloting the vessel. It felt unnatural at first, like he was fighting against something. But then, it clicked. His instincts took over, and for the first time in his life, he felt like he was in control. The ship moved as if it were an extension of his body, weaving through the explosions and dodging enemy fire with fluid ease. "This is it," Alex thought as he fired back at the enemy ships. "This is what I'm supposed to do." In that moment, everything else faded away. The uncertainty, the fear, the doubt. The only thing that mattered was survival. And Alex had a feeling that this was just the beginning of something much darker, something far more dangerous than he could possibly comprehend. The battle had begun. Secrets unveiled. The hum of the ship's engines had become a constant in the background, a rhythm that Alex couldn't quite shake. For days, he had been thrown into one battle after another, his body and mind pushed to their limits. He fought harder than he ever thought possible, flying the ship like it was an extension of himself, engaging enemies in space skirmishes that had left his hands trembling and his thoughts scattered. But as much as he tried to focus on the task at hand, something felt wrong. The ship, the mission, even Navarre. Nothing seemed to add up. It wasn't until they reached a quiet sector, far from the conflict, that Alex began to feel the weight of something darker looming. They had arrived at an isolated station, floating in the void of space like a forgotten relic. The station had no lights, no energy. It was as if it had been abandoned centuries ago. The ship docked silently, and Navarre gestured for Alex to follow. "This is where we reveal the truth," Navarre said, voice low, eyes dark. Alex's heart thudded in his chest. Every part of him wanted to turn around and leave, to get back to the battles, to keep moving forward. But something told him this was the moment when everything would change. This was the point of no return. As they walked through the empty corridors of the station, Alex couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. The place was barren. Ancient technology rusted and abandoned in corners. The walls were lined with strange symbols, alien markings that Alex couldn't even begin to decipher. It was like a tomb, a place where secrets had been buried long ago. They reached a small circular room, its floor covered in dust, the air thick with the smell of decay. In the center of the room stood a pedestal, and on it a glowing sphere hovered, pulsating with an eerie blue light. It looked like nothing Alex had ever seen. It was beautiful, captivating, but also dangerous. "This," Navarre said, stepping forward, "is the heart of the weapon, the key to everything." Alex frowned. The weapon? He remembered the stories Navarre had told him, the stories of a war, of enemies bent on destroying entire civilizations. But this? This didn't make sense. Navarre turned to face him, the shadows in the room flickering across their face. "You don't know what this is yet, do you? This isn't just a weapon, Alex. It's a doorway, a gateway to something far older, far more powerful than anything you can imagine. It's why we chose you." Alex's breath caught in his throat. "You chose me?" Navarre's expression softened, but only for a moment. "Yes, we didn't pick you randomly. You were always meant to find this. to unlock what has been hidden for eons. Alex shook his head, trying to make sense of it all. I'm just a regular guy. I'm not some kind of key to a weapon. His voice trembled with confusion. He could feel the weight of Nivar's words pressing against him, trying to force him to understand something his mind wasn't ready to grasp. Nivar took a step forward, his eyes glowing faintly in the dim light. The truth is this. Earth isn't just another planet, it's a nexus. A point of convergence for countless dimensions, worlds, and timelines. Your species, you humans, have always been more than you realize. You were built for this. You were meant to shape the fabric of reality itself. Alex stumbled backward, his mind spinning. What do you mean? Nivar sighed, a deep ancient sound that carried the weight of centuries. You're not just a soldier, Alex. You are the key to rewriting everything. You can bend the fabric of space and time. You can reshape the destiny of this galaxy and beyond. The words hit Alex like a blow. He felt like he was drowning, gasping for air in a sea of uncertainty. How could this be true? He was just a man trying to survive. He didn't understand the first thing about space warfare or dimensions. He was nobody, just a man from a broken world. Why me? Alex whispered, voice cracking. Nivar's eyes darkened. Because you are human. You possess something no other species has, something the others envy, the ability to adapt, to evolve beyond your limits, the potential to change the very rules of reality. That's why we need you. That's why we brought you here. Alex took a step back, his mind reeling. This was too much. His life, the choices he had made, had they all been part of some grand plan? The universe wasn't just a place filled with stars and empty space. It was a battleground, a place where power and reality could be bent to the will of those who understood it. And now, Alex was being told that he was that person, the one who held the key to everything. Take it, Nivar said, his voice soft, almost coaxing. He pointed to the sphere, now glowing brighter. It's yours, the power to change everything, to rewrite your world and beyond. Alex hesitated. His hand hovered above the sphere, his breath shallow. What would it mean to touch it, to claim it, to unlock the power that Nivar had spoken of? What would it cost? Once you touch it, there's no turning back, Nivar warned. You will be bound to it, to this mission, and your choices will shape the fate of your world. The weight of Nivar's words settled on Alex like a heavy stone. He could feel the pull of the sphere, its energy vibrating through the air. He wanted to touch it, to understand it, to gain control over his life, over his destiny. But there was fear too. Fear of the unknown. Fear of the power he could never fully control. As he reached out, his hand trembling, the world around him seemed to fall away. The air crackled with energy. And for the first time, Alex understood that nothing would ever be the same again. The truth had been unveiled, and there was no going back. Betrayal from within. The ship felt like a different place now. Alex had only touched the sphere for a moment, but the effects were immediate. His mind was sharp, faster, like the veil between the possible and impossible had thinned, but with the clarity came a cold, gnawing sense of dread. The power inside him was undeniable, but so was the weight of it. What had Nivar said? There was no turning back now. In the days that followed, Alex had undergone rigorous training. He was being prepared for something monumental, an understanding of dimensions, manipulation of reality, and the art of cosmic warfare. He was learning how to pilot ships with his mind, to bend energy around him, to twist the laws of physics like a puppeteer pulling at strings. But despite all this newfound power, something didn't sit right with him. It was all too perfect. Too easy. The battles had only intensified. The enemy ships, sleek and terrifying, became a regular presence on the radar. But Alex had learned quickly. He felt alive in the chaos, almost invincible, as if he had unlocked a version of himself that had always been hidden. The soldiers, the crew, they all treated him differently now, as if he were someone to be revered, a weapon. But Alex had never wanted to be a weapon. He was just a man trying to find his way. One evening, after a particularly brutal skirmish, in the outer reaches of the galaxy, Alex sat alone in a quiet corner of the ship, staring out at the vastness of space. The stars were beautiful, alien and mysterious, but they didn't comfort him anymore. Suddenly, a voice broke the silence. "You're alone, Alex." Alex spun around, his heart pounding. Standing behind him was Kira, one of the high-ranking officers on the ship, a woman with fierce eyes and a reputation for being unyielding in battle. But there was something strange about the way she looked at him now. Something different. "I thought I was alone," Alex replied, trying to steady his breath. "Isn't that what we all are out here?" Kira smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "You're not alone. Not anymore. Not with what you've become." Before Alex could respond, she stepped closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. "But you don't know the full story, do you? You don't know why we're really here." Alex frowned, confusion overtaking him. "What do you mean? We're here to fight a war, to protect Earth and all the others." "No," Kira interrupted, her eyes gleaming with something dangerous. "You're not just here to fight, you're here to win, and that means doing things you can't even imagine. The war, the battles, they're all just a front, a distraction." Alex's stomach twisted. "What are you talking about? What? Do you mean a front?" Kira's expression darkened. "The war isn't against the enemy ships you've been fighting. They're not our true enemy, Alex. You've been fed lies. We've been fed lies. The real battle is over control of the sphere, the one you touched. It holds the key to rewriting reality itself. Whoever controls it, controls the universe. The war was never about Earth. It's about that power. About who gets to decide the fate of everything." Alex's mind raced. The words Kira spoke seemed to slice through the haze that had surrounded him. The power he had unlocked, the abilities he now wielded. They weren't just his to control. They were part of something bigger, a cosmic struggle. But Kira wasn't finished. "It's not just about control," she continued, her voice colder now. "It's about who gets to shape the galaxy, who gets to decide who lives and who dies. The higher-ups on this ship, Nivar included, they're all part of the plan. They've been manipulating you from the start." Alex's head spun. "Manipulating me? Why? I know what you thought," Kira said, her lips curling into a bitter smile. "You thought you were chosen because you were special, because you had the power to save your world. But that's not true, Alex. You were chosen because you're expendable. You're just a tool to unlock the ultimate weapon. And when you've outlived your usefulness, they'll dispose of you." Alex's blood ran cold. The words hit him like a fist to the gut. He had trusted Nivar. He had trusted the mission. Everything he had done, all the battles, the sacrifices, they had been for something greater, something worth fighting for. Or so he thought. But now, everything was in question. The war wasn't just a war. The stakes were beyond anything Alex could have imagined. The power inside him wasn't a gift, it was a weapon, and he wasn't the one holding the reins. "What do you want from me?" Alex whispered, his voice trembling. Kira looked at him, her gaze unreadable. "I want you to know the truth. I want you to see what's really happening. You can fight against it or you can let it consume you. The choice is yours." For a moment, Alex stood there staring into Kira's eyes, feeling the weight of the universe pressing down on him. His mind spun, his thoughts racing. Could he trust Kira? Could he trust anyone? Or was he already too deep into the game, too tangled in the web of lies that had been spun around him? "You're not the only one who's been deceived," Kira continued, her voice softer now. "But if you want to stop this madness, you need to make a choice now, before it's too late." Before Alex could respond, she turned and walked away, leaving him standing alone in the quiet corner of the ship, the weight of her words sinking into his chest like a heavy stone. The truth had come crashing down, and now, the real battle was only just beginning. The final choice, Alex stood frozen in the dim light of the ship's corridor, the silence pressing in on him like a heavy cloak. Kira's words still echoed in his mind. Relentless. A harsh truth that cut through every illusion he had built. He wasn't the hero he thought he was. He wasn't even in control of his own destiny. The power he had fought so hard to harness, the strength he had come to rely on, it wasn't his to command. It was part of a game, a cosmic chessboard where he was merely a pawn. But it was the truth that had shaken him the most. The realization that he had been manipulated, not only by the alien race he had trusted, but by the very people he had fought alongside. Nivar, the one who had seemed so wise, so certain, had been playing a long con. The war wasn't about saving Earth, about protecting humanity. It was about control, about rewriting reality itself. And Alex was the key to it all. The quiet hum of the ship's engines suddenly felt louder, as if the vessel itself was holding its breath. Alex knew the choice had to be made, and it had to be made now. There was no more time for hesitation. The war, the fate of the galaxy, it all rested on his shoulders. He couldn't trust anyone. He couldn't trust Nivar, who had been grooming him for this moment all along. He couldn't trust Kira, who had shown him the cracks in the illusion but had left him with no clear answers. The power of the sphere, the one he had unlocked, was still inside him, growing, pulsing, a force he couldn't control. But it was his to wield if he chose. What if I could take it all? The thought whispered through his mind like a seductive voice, a dangerous temptation. He could rewrite everything. He could reshape reality as he saw fit, undo the lies, the manipulations, and bring about the world he wanted. A perfect world, free from the tyranny of those who sought to control it. But as the power surged inside him, Alex felt something else, something he hadn't expected. A wave of cold dread washed over him, a realization that clawed at his chest. If I do this, if I take this power, what will I become? The sphere had offered him the potential to change everything, but at what cost? To become the very thing he had fought against? To become the kind of ruler who shaped the universe in his own image? Could he live with the consequences of that kind of power? Or would it consume him as it had consumed others? He thought of Earth, the people he had left behind, the ones who had no idea about the war being fought in the stars, about the cosmic forces that manipulated their fate. They didn't deserve this. They deserved a choice. They deserved to live in a world where power didn't decide who lived and who died. As if in response to his thoughts, a figure stepped into the corridor from the shadows. Alex turned to see Nivar, their face expressionless, their presence as commanding as ever. "The time has come, Alex," Nivar said, their voice as calm as it had always been. But there was something in their eyes, something that made Alex's stomach twist. "The power is yours now. All you have to do is claim it. Join us. Together, we will reshape the universe. You will have everything you ever wanted." The aliens. Words were a lure, a promise of power, of a future beyond anything Alex had ever dreamed. But as Alex looked at Nivar, he felt nothing but cold resolve. He could see it now, the manipulation, the subtle control that had always been there, masked as guidance. The war, the battles, they had never been about protecting anything. It was about bending the universe to their will. But Alex wasn't just a soldier anymore. He wasn't just a pawn in their game. "No," Alex said, his voice steady. "I won't be a part of this." Nivar's eyes narrowed. "You think you can stop it? You think you have the strength to fight what's coming? You're human, Alex. You're not built for this." "I may not be built for this," Alex replied, his hand instinctively resting over his chest where the power of the sphere still burned. "But I know one thing. I won't become what you want me to be." For the first time, Nivar's expression faltered. The facade of calm slipped just for a moment, and Alex saw something else in their eyes. Fear. The alien had underestimated him. They had underestimated the power of humanity, their unpredictability, their resilience. The same qualities that had made Alex a perfect candidate were the ones that now made him a threat. Nivar stepped forward, their voice low and dangerous. You don't understand the consequences of your actions. If you defy me, if you refuse to, join us, there will be no turning back. The war will consume you. The universe will tear itself apart. Alex's heart pounded in his chest, but he didn't flinch. The power inside him hummed, like a force of nature waiting for his command. But now, for the first time, he understood what it meant to wield it. It wasn't just about victory, it was about choice, and he refused to let someone else decide his fate. He looked at Nivar, his eyes clear. The war isn't over, Nivar. But I'm not fighting for you. I'm fighting for everyone else, for the people who never got a say. Nivar's face twisted in anger, but Alex didn't back down. He could feel the power building inside him, the sphere's energy ready to surge. But this time he wouldn't let it control him. He would control it. With a single movement, Alex reached out, his hand hovering over the control panel. The ship responded instantly, the air around him crackling with energy. In that moment, he knew what he had to do. "Goodbye, Nivar," Alex said, his voice low but resolute. "The future belongs to those who choose it." And with that, Alex unleashed the power within him, not to control the universe, but to set it free. The universe trembled, and for the first time, Alex knew that he was the one writing its story.